Assalamu alaikum, welcome to Google Knowledge Hub. Today we are going to do our practice of speaking English fluently like a native speaker, and there are basic essential 4 steps which we have to follow in order to be like a native speaker in speaking English. So these are the 4 steps which we have to follow to be fluent in English and how to speak English confidently and fluently. So first of all comes reading, because when you have to speak, when you have to utter words from your mouth, you have to require different kinds of information, and these informations are stored in our mind through books, through magazines, through newspapers. And first of all, you have to read out different kinds of interesting books, because interesting books will give you the information, the sentence structure, the basic long sentence structure information which you have to convey while you are speaking. Then you can read out different kinds of moral stories, you can read out newspapers, you can read out different kinds of childish stories in order to enhance your vocabulary, and information to convey it through your mouth. Because Bacon, the greatest essayist of English literature, says that reading makes a full man. Reading makes a full man. This means that when you are reading something, automatically different kinds of sentence structures are stored in your mind, and you also gather different kind of information along sentence structures, and in this way you have enough information to convey to the reader, to the other person when you are speaking. So in order to follow this step, you have to read out different kinds of books to be fluent and to be confident while speaking English. The next step, the foremost step in the practice of speaking English fluently like a native speaker, you have to write it down on the paper which you have gathered information in your mind. Because when you write it down on your mind, all the information which is stored in your mind is translated on the paper, and in this way you can learn the long structures, vocabulary, information, and the correct structures of sentences. And this is the basic thing to gather information and to speak English fluently like a native speaker. And the third step, the foremost step, is to listen. Because you have observed that speaking English doesn't require anything special. It requires only the environment. And you observe that when a child is born in a specific society, whether it is English society, whether it is Punjabi society, whether it is Hindi society, he just listens the words, he'll just listen the conversation of the elders, and while listening, he gathers the information and he gathers the long structures which are required to speak English fluently, and then automatically he speaks and he utters those kinds of words. It means that when you listen, you gather information. It means that when you listen, you have long structures and you are adapted to that environment. So listen and in this way I will suggest you to listen newscast, because newscast is the essential step to follow. And while listening, you are in the position to gather information, you are in the position to observe long sentence structure, and you are in the position to collect the correct pronunciation, how different words are produced, how different words are pronunciated, and how these are uttered through the mouth. Correct pronunciation is achieved through listening, and listen to the native speaker. First of all, you can listen to the movies, you can listen to the newscast, you can listen to the movies, you can listen to the cartoon, because in cartoons there is very simple and basic language which you can easily understand. And after reading, then writing, and other listening, and finally the major and the foremost step is speaking. Because if you can't speak, reading, writing, and listening will be futile. will be of no use, because when you are not in the practice of speaking English, these 3 steps are useless. So you have to speak. You have to speak. But the problem arises here, where we have to speak. Then I will suggest you have one person in front of you to listen and to encourage you. But people around us, they don't do this. So just stand in front of the mirror. Talk to yourself. Talk to yourself about your daily routine, about the weather, about the things which you like. You can speak to anything, non-living thing. Like you can speak to a spoon, you can speak to a refrigerator, you can speak to anything. You can speak to yourself in front of your mirror. This will remove your hesitation, and this will give you the confidence how to speak English fluently. Because when you are standing in front of the mirror, there is a person who can understand your problems, and will give you solutions, because the person who is in the mirror is yourself. There is no other thing. And when you speak, then start speaking in front of other people. Don't feel hesitate, don't feel shy, because hesitation and shyness are the two basic failures. In the beginning we will face failures, in the beginning we will face hesitation and shyness, but we have to overcome this feeling of hesitation and shyness in order to be fluent in English speaking practice. There are no hard and fast rules. You just have to read. In order to have information of different kinds. You have to read in order to have long sentence structures, how sentences are produced, how they are arranged in the sentence. This can only be achieved through reading different kinds of books, magazines, newspapers. And after that, you have to write it down. When you will write it down, you will know these are the correct English words, these are the correct English sentences, this is the vocabulary which I have to use. And after that, you have to listen, because while listening, you gather how to speak English correctly with correct pronunciation. And after that, speaking is essential. And if you fumble, if you stumble, and if you have failure, or if you feel shyness, try to overcome that, because you can overcome that. Human beings make mistakes, but by mistakes they achieve many things. When they make mistakes, and if they realize their mistake and they overcome their mistakes and they continue to work hard, they will definitely learn how to speak English fluently, because it is a language like Punjabi, like Hindi, like Pashto, like Sindhi, like Gujarati, like any other language, German language, French language. It is just a language, and we have just to create an environment in order to speak English fluently. An environment can be made by yourself, by standing in front of the mirror. Just first face yourself, first talk to yourself, first listen to yourself, first analyze yourself, because by analyzing, observing yourself, you can make your English better. And by speaking in front of the people will make you confident enough to speak in front of any other person fluently and confidently, and you will not feel hesitation, because it is not a hard rule. Human beings can do wonders. Human beings can do a lot of things which are miracles, and this is very small thing to speak English fluently. You just need courage, you just need confidence, you just need reading, listening, writing and speaking practice, and there is no problem to speak English like a native speaker. Hope you have understood this concept of how to speak English confidently. If you like the video, kindly share and subscribe it, so that we have a wider perspective of speaking English confidently. And if you have any confusion or queries related to your how to speak English confidently and fluently, you can inbox me and I will definitely answer your questions. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.